Hello everyone, welcome to the monthly draw. Today's draw is going to be for a shadow reading. This reading type is a new one. I have just recently introduced it on my website, so if you're interested in it, you can check it out. See the description below, that's where my website is. You can find this reading type in the golden tier. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check it out. But you can also, if you are so inclined, join this monthly lottery. What we do here each month is we have these people who were generous enough to join the lottery on my website or on Patreon. On Patreon, you can only enter at the $2 tier. But on my website, I have four different tiers with different additional benefits. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, then I encourage you to check it out. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and see who the winner is this month. And it's Gina. Congratulations, Gina. You have won this before. The thing is, you can enter at the $15 or $9 level, which gives you a triple chance. And so Gina is one of those supporters of mine who is entered at the $15 level, and so she is receiving a video and also is entered in the monthly lottery every time. So this is why she's won this multiple times. So anyway, Gina, congratulations, and let's see your reading. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about the shadow reading itself. So, what is it about? What is it for? Let me light up this incense. Just don't want it to burn too hard. Okay, I think it's on now. All right. So, let me tell you a little bit about what the shadow reading is about. It's basically to kind of see what you're not seeing about yourself. The shadow is a concept from Jungian psychology. It's that aspect of yourself, of who you are, that you are in denial about. The aspect of yourself that you're trying to suppress or ignore or deny the existence of. But the thing is that the shadow is not just a useless and worthless part of you. It is a part of you that has a lot of excess energies that you can tap into, that you can integrate into your existence. So it really is a valuable asset if you work with it the right way. So let's see, Gina. The first card is going to reveal your current state. So energetically, where you are, where you're at, just a general assessment of your situation. And everybody else who wants to stay here and listen to this reading with us, thank you for being here. Thank you for following along. If you have any questions or any feedback, I invite you to leave a comment in the comment section. Sometimes we have some interesting discussions in there. Okay, so the first card represents where you're at, how you're doing, your general energy. Just generally. Okay. The second card gives us an idea of how you consciously interpret yourself, how you see yourself on a conscious level. The shadow, the third card, is how others see you. So that's the interesting thing about the shadow. Seeing another person's shadow is always easier than seeing our own. So other people, when they interact with you, they are more often than not aware of your shadow on some level. They can sense it. And depending on how conscious they are, how mindful they are, they will be able to respond to it, either with their own shadow or from a conscious place. Okay. So here's your shadow. Next, the energies that you can utilize from the shadow. Things that you can build into your existence, your actual conscious self. Okay. Next, the harmful energies that you need to be cautious of, that you need to be aware of and try to keep under control. Let me maybe try to put this over here. Okay. All right. Okay. Here we go. And the last card, potentially the most important one in this reading, is the energy of integration. How do you have this dialogue with the shadow? How do you make sure that the shadow's useful energies are integrated into your conscious self? And just how do you work with it? How do you integrate it? All right. So let's have a look. Let's see. The first one, how you are. So a general energetic assessment of who you are or how you are. We have the Knight of Swords here. Okay. How you consciously interpret the self. The Five of Pentacles. Okay. The shadow. How others see you. The Eight of Cups. Okay. All right. Energies to utilize. Energies that you can draw upon, that are included in the shadow. And we have the Two of Cups in reverse. Interesting. Okay. Harmful energies that you need to be aware of. The Five of Cups. Lots of cups here. Very, very emotional. And the energy of integration. Wow. It's the devil. All right. So, first off, as I said, lots of cups here. 1, 2, 3. We have no wands, so no fire. Cups, as you might know, are associated with the water energy, the emotional energy, and the Knight, which, let me just place it into safety because I think this is about to fall off. The ash. Okay, so the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Air, as your general kind of mood and energetic situation is telling me that there's some level of internal conflict, and all the other cards, actually, the Eight of Cups, the Five of Pentacles, the Five of Cups, the Two of Cups reversed, even the Devil, they all are pointing to a disharmonious, out of balance energy. So the Knight of Swords is trying his best to deal with it, and he's utilizing his mental energy to kind of overcome the chaos. But as all knights, he is very antagonistic and stubborn, and does not have the high level of skill that queens and kings have. But he's also not as much of a rookie as the page would be. So this is sort of an in-between state of, I understand, I have the intellectual capacity to understand my situation to a certain extent, but maybe not enough to be able to make mature enough decisions. So you're attempting to analyze and intellectually overcome your situation, but you just don't have all the information that would be necessary. You just don't seem to have all pieces of the puzzle available to you. So it's the Knight of Swords represents the frustration of knowing enough to know that you are in a bad situation, but not knowing enough to know how to get out of it. And depending on the situation, we all get into those, into those patterns from every now and then, from time to time, I was gonna say. So the Knight of Swords represents this fight for your truth, fight for justice, fight for understanding. But there's many, many obstacles that you need to overcome, and an internal lack of balance, a lack of maturity that also makes it kind of difficult. So the Knight of Swords is kind of reactive. That's what I wanted to highlight here, is that he does not lead, he's not assertive enough, he's reactive, he's responding to provocation, for example. So he's responding from that shadow place. So the shadow seems to be very, very active right now. So let's have a look at how things are going on a conscious level. So how do you see your situation? What is your interpretation of it? And we have the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles. As you can see, this is not a very peaceful situation. The Five of Pentacles is about a lack of resources, a lack of power in the physical material realm. So the way you interpret yourself and your situation, there's a very strong victim narrative in place, and it might as well be true, because sometimes we really are just vulnerable to external physical material circumstances. Sometimes those circumstances take the better of us, and it's difficult to get by. So what I'm seeing is that you're primarily identifying this type of struggle in yourself, in your situation. That's what you're really connecting with. But there might be a lack of recognition of power that you have in all of this. So your focus is on the scarcity. Your focus is on what you don't have to achieve your goals, what is not at your disposal, what you cannot get access to. That's your primary focus when it comes to yourself. What's lurking in the shadow? Let's have a look. Let's see. And here we have the Eight of Cups. So, your shadow. Your shadow seems to be very, there seems to be a melancholic aspect to your person, to your personality that you carry in your shadow, which does not mean that you are incapable of having fun or that you're not good at connecting with other people, but there's an element of your shadow that is kind of aloof, that is somewhat drawn to these feelings of sadness and loneliness and kind of a low energy. The Eight of Cups is about walking away from emotionally significant elements of your life, taking a 180 turn and choosing a different path. So it's the melancholy, the bittersweet quality of saying goodbye. And this is what this reading is about. I think that could be a superpower if you find that you're connecting with that world, with that ability to break things off, that ability to walk away, to detach from things that used to be emotionally significant, even if that pain is there. I think there's considerable emotional pain and suffering attached to it, but there's still a capacity for this. So here's where this reading I think can help you. So, but anyway, the shadow, the Eight of Cups, is telling me that you carry this sadness, that you might be trying to mask it. You might be trying to hide it from other people because you might be thinking that that's not a respectable trait. But it seems as though in your current situation with the Five of Pentacles, it's kind of like you have a good reason to connect with your shadow and to potentially even show it to the world. And the shadow has a very important place in what is going on right now. So let's see how you can utilize the shadow's energies. The Two of Cups in reverse. The Two of Cups upright represents an emotional connection, a one-on-one connection, potentially a relationship or a friendship. Upside down, I think the tarot is hinting at your ability to walk away from relationships that are not enriching your life, relationships that are toxic and harmful and draining, because the Eight of Cups is choosing to detach for the reason that after a while it becomes emotionally exhausting and simply not sustainable for the Eight of Cups to remain in an emotional situation that is taking even more energy from them. So the Eight of Cups is already starting out with a lower level of energy, and when there's a situation that extracts even more from you, your shadow is activating and you're inclined to say no, to withdraw your energy, to disrupt a connection if necessary. So what the cards are saying here is that this is actually a very, very useful trait, to be able to disengage and not get caught up in negative patterns with other people. And even if it's painful, even if it's the shadow is indicating to me that there's already a tendency, probably a natural tendency, to be very sensitive and carry burdens that don't belong to you. And when you have that kind of disposition, and when that's in your shadow, to take on additional weights, additional burdens and problems, it's leading you to implode. And so I think even though your shadow is showing, if you will, a sort of weakness, a lack of emotional energy, it can definitely be turned to a strength, because if you don't have enough capacity to deal with toxicity, you will receive less of it. And people who might have maybe higher energy and more patience or something like that, they might get trapped more easily. So here's the upside, here's the useful part. Now let's have a look at the harmful part. The Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is very similar to the Five of Pentacles in that it speaks of loss and not having. But this one is the quintessential depression card. So it's the especially when combined with the Eight of Cups. So there might be a propensity, a natural disposition for depression and melancholia. And the Five of Cups is asking you to notice when your shadow is taking up too much space, when it starts to rule you and your emotions, when darkness becomes too overwhelming. Because with the Five of Cups, there can be a tendency to be involved with these downward spirals and a magnetic attraction to more and more pain. Certain individuals, this is very strange, but I think this can be a powerful thing. So this is not to say that you cannot utilize this. It's just, I think, somewhat of a tendency in some people to be more sensitive to sadness and these negative states of mind than other people, than the average, perhaps. And so the Five of Cups is saying you don't necessarily have to converge to a rock bottom here. You don't necessarily have to sit on that downward spiral. The real function and the real benefit of having this shadow is to be able to disconnect from negative parasitic relationships, because you can't take it anymore. You just cannot sit in it, and that's a really good thing. But when that's done, you don't have to continue to sit on that same train. You don't have to continue the downward spiral and go deeper into the pain, because the pain has already signaled to you. Pain, emotional pain, and even physical pain, all kinds of pain, has a very specific adaptive purpose. When you feel pain, it's sort of like a compass. It's telling you not to go in the direction that's causing you pain. But when you have this strong shadow relationship with pain, with emotional pain, there can be, like I said, a magnetic resonance with the sadness that attracts you. So you can take it too far, and you can get a little too deep with it. There's no need for that, is what this card is saying. And this is the pitfall, the danger of having this type of shadow, because you might find that the sadness is sort of calling you, and there's really no need to continue once the shadow has done its job, and once it's gotten you out of a negative situation. There's no need to look for new problems to solve in that way. I think that's what the Five of Cups is about. It's experiencing and re-experiencing that sort of loss and desperation that sometimes it's necessary to feel that in order to help you liberate yourself, but after a while it's redundant, and I think that's the warning here, to not go with those downward spirals if you can. Now, how do you integrate your shadow? We have the Devil here. The Devil is an unusual card. It's one of those stereotypically dark cards that people don't like to get. But the thing is, with the Devil, which is a major arcana card, so there's some important stuff going on here. With the Devil, what you have is an incentive to walk in the direction of individualistic, independent thinking, to break the traditions, to break the conventions, the patterns of your life that might perhaps invite you or nudge you in those negative directions. It's almost as though the Five of Cups is saying you can always mourn something. There's always a reason to mourn. But the Devil is saying, I have my shadow, and my shadow is serving me. My shadow is here to help me detach, to help me withdraw my empathy in certain situations where that is no longer warranted. When you hear that you can turn empathy on and off, that might feel very uncomfortable to certain people, especially if you're an empath, or rather, maybe a better way to describe it is codependent. So when you have a codependent personality where your main goal is to make sure that everybody around you is having a good time, that everybody's comfortable, that everybody's doing well, and you kind of deprioritize yourself. That's where the devil comes in, and the devil says, screw all that. You have the power to take your control back. And there might be a strong fear of being seen as bad or mean or cruel. The devil is saying self-protection is your number one priority here. And your shadow is there to protect you. Your shadow is it's an instinct that you perhaps do not want to acknowledge, but you have the instinct to walk away. You have the instinct to give up and surrender and detach from emotionally taxing situations. And this is something that you need to do every now and then. This is something that you definitely can utilize as a very useful skill. So it's not something to be afraid of. It's something that you can utilize as a really powerful tool. So I hope that you enjoy this reading. Thank you very much for joining me, Gina, and everybody else who decided to stay with us. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. And I'll see you next time.